Okay, we're going to get started with the agenda portion of the meeting and followed by the meeting. First we have resolutions. First we have resolutions. We have one, resolution to read the 2017 New Brunswick municipal budget, public hearing. 2, approve amendments of the City of New Brunswick 2017 budget. 3, City of New Brunswick resolution to adopt 2017 budget. 4, resolution to set the tax levy for the Board of Education for 2017. We have no ordinances on second reading. We have ordinance on first reading to amend, number 1, to amend the management salary ordinance. Then we have resolutions. 1, approve agenda amendments. 2, approve payroll. 3, authorize refund for redeemed tax sale certificates. 4, approve amendment of resolution R-121593, change order number 1 with All State Power Vac Incorporated for 2015 sanitary sewer system improvements, project phase 2B, specification number 89515B, amount of $31,615. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the original contract. 5, approve request for parking vehicles in Bugalo Park, requested by Francis E. Parker Memorial Home for employee parking in Bugalo Park for the 110th anniversary of the celebration of the facility. Location, Bugalo Park. Date, Thursday, May 11, 2017. Time, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Number of spaces, 40. 6, approve request for street closing, requested by Colette Arts. Location, corner parking lots on Byard Street in front of El Poblano, located between French Street and Amtrak Overpass, for the unveiling of the new mural at Las Pazuelas, and celebrating the identity of the community. Date, Thursday, May 18, 2017. Rain date, Friday, May 19, 2017. Time, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Police extra duty. 7, request for street closing requested by the New Brunswick Recreation Department. Location, Johnson Drive and George Street for annual New Brunswick Soapbox Derby event. Date, Saturday, June 3rd, 2017. Rain date, Sunday, June 4th, 2017. Time, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Police extra duty. 8, approve request for the use of city property and street closure, requested by the Vulcan Pioneers of New Brunswick for the parade and gathering to celebrate Juneteenth. Park location, Recreation Park. Street closure for parade route, Ripson Avenue and George Street to Sanford Street, Pine Street to Nickel Avenue to Larch Avenue. Street closure, Pine Street. Date, Saturday, June 17th, 2017. Time, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Police extra duty. 9, approve request for use of city property requested by the Public Service Electric and Gas Company, PSENG, for vehicle inspection. Location, Boyd Park parking lot. Date, Wednesday, May 10th, 2017. Time, 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. 10, approve emergency temporary appropriations for 2017. 11, approve amendment of resolution R-041708. Reason to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $2,380 to Benedict and Altman for Police Director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Arthur Anderson et al. Versus Anthony Caputo from $29,112.50 to $31,492.50. 12, approve request for the use of city property requested by McKinley School, New Brunswick Board of Education. Location, Alex Jennings Archibald Park for McKinley Community School Field Day. Date, Friday, May 19, 2017. Time, 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Thirteen, approve request for the use of city property requested by Paul Robeson Community School, New Brunswick Board of Education. Location, Bugalo Park Pavilion for Paul Robeson Community School Field Day for grades kindergarten through 2nd grade. Date, Tuesday, June 6, 2017. Rain date, Wednesday, June 7, 2017. Time, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. 14, approve request for the use of city property requested by the Paul Robeson Community School, New Brunswick Board of Education. Location, Bugalo Park and Pavilion for Paul Robeson School Field Day for grades 3 through 6th grade. Date, Wednesday, June 7, 2017. Rain date, June 9, 2017. Time, 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. 15, approve amendment for resolution R-041716, reason to pay additional legal fees in the amount of Benedict and Altman for Police Director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Stephen Middleton et al. Versus the City of New Brunswick from $39,050 to $40,512. 16, approve request for city property requested by Livingston Elementary School, New Brunswick Board of Education, location youth sports complex, baseball and soccer fields, lower field, for Livingston Elementary School Field Day. Date, Tuesday, June 13, 2017. Rain date, Monday, June 19, 2017. Time, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. 17, approve request for the use of city property requested by Lincoln Elementary School, New Brunswick, for Board of Education, location Bigelow Park Pavilion, field swings lawn, for location for Lincoln Elementary School Field Day. Date, Wednesday, June 14, 2017. Rain date, Tuesday, June 20, 2017. Time, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. 18, requested by use of city property requested by New Brunswick Middle School for New Brunswick Board of Education, location Memorial Stadium, football field, for eighth grade moving up ceremony. Date, Tuesday, June 20th, 2017, 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. 19, approve request for street closing requested by New Brunswick Cultural Center, location George Street between Liberty Street and Patterson Street, for the 5th annual Central Jersey Jazz Festival. Date, Saturday, September 16, 2017. Time, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Police extra duty. 20, approve amendment of resolution R-041721, reason to pay the additional legal fees in the amount of $8,000 to Christopher D. Adams, Esquire, and Adams and Buchanan for Palo LLC for representation of Thomas Lofton III, City Administrator, in the matter of Arthur Anderson et al. Versus City of New Brunswick et al. And punitive damages claim from $8,650.47 to $16,650.47. 21, approve request for the use of city property requested by Hyacinth AIDS Foundation for War Memorial Park for a National HIV Awareness Event. Friday, June 23rd, 2017. Rain date, Friday, June 20th, 2017. Time, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. 22, approve request for use of city property requested by Hyacinth AIDS Foundation for War Memorial Park for National Night Out Community Information for HIV/AIDS prevention in English and in Spanish. Date, Tuesday, August 1st, 2017. Time, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. 23, approve amendment for resolution R-051634. Reason to extend the contract for 1 additional year. Term, 12-month period commencing June 1st, 2017, ending May 31st, 2018. For Northeastern Benefit Services LLC for insurance and brokerage services, dental. 24, approve person-to-person transfer of liquor license from North Brunswick Investor Corp. Group LLC for Hotoki LLC, 350B George Street, license number 1214-33-053-007. 25, approve amendment of resolution R-041729. Reason to pay the additional legal fees in the amount of $38,950 to Arleo and Donahue LLC for representation of Mayor James Cahill in the matter of Stephen Middleton versus the City of New Brunswick et al., Arthur Anderson et al., City of New Brunswick et al. On punitive damage claims from $113,075 to $152,025. 26, authorized purchase by water utility under the state contract A-4166-M-0483 National Value Point Computer from Microsoft Corporation for software for the water utility, not to exceed $2,088.12. 27, approve award of contract with South and Associates LLC for in-service training for law enforcement officers for the police department. Officers for the police department, term 12-month period commencing May 4th, 2017 and ending May 3rd, 2018. Rebid specification number 59017 RFP, not to exceed $4,875, fair and open. 28, approve person-to-person and place-to-place transfer of liquor license liquor license number 1214-33-066-012 from NB Specialty Food LLC to Asher and Claire LLC, 120 Albany Street. 29, approve resolution for authorization to enter into an agreement with Electronic Recyclers International Incorporated for e-waste recycling. Term May 1st, 2017. This to December 31st, 2018, non-pro tunc. 30, approve award of contract with Garden State Laboratories Incorporated for laboratory analysis for the water utility, term 12-month period, commencing May 31st, 2017 and ending May 20th, 2018. Specification number 59217 RFP, not to exceed $14,000. 31, approve relaxation of the city noise ordinance requested by Sky High Erectors Equipment Incorporated. Reason to place a crane in the parking lot at 277 George Street in order to change the HVAC equipment. Date Saturday, May 6, 2017. Alternate date Saturdays, May 13th and May 20th, 2017. Time 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. 32, approve amendment resolution R-101-542 supplemental services. Reason to perform additional surveys plus an additional fee to compensate cost differences with the Yorkanis and White Incorporated for professional land and surveying and property. Surveying services for the New Brunswick Fire Department headquarters, specification number 889 C-15 RFP, not to exceed $1,379. 33, approved payment of counsel, named Peter Jost Esquire, for special conflict counsel for the Board of Ethics complaints, not to exceed $7,500. 34, approved release of site performance bond in the amount of $139,000 to Winter Bread Products Incorporated for 571 Jersey Avenue, block number 59601, lot number 16.05. 35, approved the release of site performance and bond in the amount of $94,711.59 in the balance of site inspection fees for Recon Services LLC for Morale Student Housing Phase 2, 58 Gray, 61 and 65 Moore Street, Block 80, lots 10, 11-01 and 21-01. 36, approve amendment of resolution R-121640, change order number 3 with Allied Construction Group Incorporated for DNR Canal and Weston's Mill Pump Stations upgrade. Specification number 245-12WR, amount $104,091. Approval of this change order will constitute an increase of 20% or more of the original contract. 37, approve fiber optic cable agreement and right-of-way use agreement requested by Level 3 Communications. Reason for the installation of an aerial and underground fiber optic cable. Location, intersection of Richmond Street and Nelson Street to 18 Liberty Street aerial and 18 Liberty Street and 317 George Street underground. 38, approve authorization to advertise for exterior renovation of the Senior Citizen Resource Center. Specification number 90917. 39, approve award of contract with Elijah's Promise for preparation services for the New Brunswick Senior Citizen Service Center, term 12-month period commencing April 18, 2017, ending April 17, 2018, and thereafter additional 12 months should the city so desire. And we have items for this, not to exceed $62,500 non-pro chunk. And we have items for discussion by the council, and we have public discussion. And I think that's it. Yes, sir.
Mr. Fleming, can I just advise you that should you adopt the municipal budget this evening, that would render resolution number 10 not necessary.
Thank you. All right. Meeting will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council Vice President Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Egan will be late. Councilmember Escobar.
Here.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig. Here. Council President Fleming.
Here. Please be advised that the notice of requirements of the Public Open Meeting Act have been complied with and satisfied in the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the municipal clerk of the City of New Brunswick has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, has been transmitted to the official newspaper of the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we please please remain standing with a moment of silence for those that are defending freedom around the world, those that have lost their lives defending freedom, and those that continue to defend freedom abroad and in this country. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the minutes. Approve the minutes.
Motion for adjournment. Second.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Sikora Ludwig.
Yes.
Council President Fleming.
Yes. All right, now we're going to move on to public hearings. We read the resolution first.
Council President, this is the time fixed for the public hearing on the municipal budget and tax resolution for 2017. The budget was approved by the governing body on April 5th, 2017, was advertised as required by law on April 22nd, 2017, together with the notice of hearing for this time. Printed copies have been made available to the public during the past week, and the supply is here for anyone desiring a copy.
Anyone who has not secured a copy of the budget may do so now.
Copies are located on the counter just outside the room here. Council President, I have a resolution regarding the reading of the budget by title only. It is Resolution 051700A. Does anyone wish to make a motion?
So moved. Second.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Sikora Ludwig.
Yes.
Council President Fleming.
Yes. And the resolution is adopted. Okay, before we go into the hearing officially, Mr. Laughlin, would you like to highlight some things?
Sure. This evening, you're going to be asked to amend the budget that was introduced. You'll amend it slightly by $5,500. That's a grant that came in. It's known as the 2017 Distracted Driving Crackdown Grant. There were a couple of other changes made to the budget. One of our revenues was not approved by New Jersey DCA. It was worth $100,000. It was our sidewalk obstruction fee. Ordinance was going to produce a revenue of $100,000 this year. We still think we'll be able to collect it, but DCA did not sign off on it because it's a new revenue stream that really hasn't any history and hasn't been established as far as they're concerned. We did also we did add a little more money to the Division of Animal Control, and we added a little more money to the Senior Center so that they could let out the Elijah's Promise contract that you have already spoken of this evening. But the slight amendments will take the introduced budget amount of $91.276 million. It'll change it to $91.281 million. Also, with respect to the budget, we slightly complicated this year because we had a revaluation done since the 2016 budget was adopted. That revaluation, I believe, was completed in February of this year. I just want to remind everyone that the net valuation taxable that the city 2016 budget was based upon had a value of $1.264 billion, meaning that was the value of all the ratables in town, and as such, our 2016 local tax rate had a value of $2.54. Now, the revaluation comes in, the net valuation taxable goes up to $3.3 billion, causing the local rate to reduce to 94.7 cents, and that's before we even get started with the 2017 budget. The 2017 budget will again be $91.2 million. It is causing the local rate to increase by $4.40 4.9 cents, which will then trigger a local rate this year of 99.6 cents. We believe the average home has a value this year at $271,000. So we believe that rate increase will impact the average property by a value of $133 this year. Again, I'm just talking about the local rate. All of our programs continue to get funded through this budget. The tax levy cap regulations and the spending cap regulations that are imposed by the state, they have been met by this budget. We are anticipating hiring 5 new police officers because we're anticipating 3 retirements. We are not going to hire any firefighters this year unless there are retirements. If there are, we will find a way to replace them. As I spoke maybe at the introduction, we are going to fund an OEM coordinator position out of the fire department. We are going to hire an abandoned property coordinator to get that abandoned property ordinance off the ground. Wage increases for this year. By contract, the blue-collar unit, which we refer to as the MEA, will get a 2% increase. In fact, they already did on January 1st. All our firefighters got a 1.5% increase on January 1st. Our police officers got a 2% increase on January 1st. And there's money in the budget to give management employees an increase of 1.5% prospective as of July 1st. I don't know what else I can tell you. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you or of course, the public may have.
Thank you.
I can get into I'm sorry, Mr. Fleming, I can get into some of the capital things that we expect to do this year, or I could just wait for questions, whatever you prefer.
Sure.
Okay. Well, we're funding enough money to at least contribute our portion of the engineering and design work that has to be done to Livingston Avenue to implement the road diet that we've discussed for probably a couple of years at this point. We're funding engineering and design money to create 2 new public parks, one on Welton Street and one where the Wolfson Deck once was. We're going to do some heating upgrades to the Joyce Kilmer House. We're going to do some landscaping improvements to the New Brunswick Senior Center. We expect to do a significant amount of paving, many roads in the Rutgers Village neighborhood, primarily Wilcox Road and Teal Road, Hobart, Prentice, Stockton, Roberts, and Bowser. We're also looking to do some paving on streets more in the central business district or downtown, Hassard Street, Farman, New, Abeel, Hazelhurst, and a portion of Seaman and a portion of Welton. We're going to cause a $500,000 worth of improvement to the Bucklew Mansion, which is suffering from some structural issues. We're going to do a total repainting of the house as well, window replacement where necessary. The water utility is going to oversee $4.3 million worth of upgrades in the areas of filtration, new meters, a new water main replacement in the Rutgers Village neighborhood that will run primarily up Tunison Road to the second Wilcox intersection. And then we're going to fund enough engineering to cause the sedimentation basins at the treatment plant to eventually be reconfigured and rehabilitated.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, before opening this hearing, I want to outline the procedure. Each person desiring to be heard will rise and give his or her name and address. Before speaking, I will recognize the speaker one at a time in the order of rising as nearly as I can determine. Address all questions through the chair. Where they were necessary, they will be referred to the individual members of the governing body or the municipal officers. Questions must be confined solely to the municipal budget before us. School or county matters are not proper subjects of this hearing and cannot be discussed or answered here tonight. So with that said, I now declare this meeting open of the municipal budget 2017.
Good evening, members of the council. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. I'd like to follow up on some of the things that were just talked about by the business administrator. First of all, the Elijah's Promise, is that a new arrangement, or is that something that was already in place?
Had been in place by about 5 or 6 months.
Gotcha, so this is the first year it's in the budget.
First year it's in the budget, and it's, we went out to an RFP after their initial contract with us expired. They were the only party interested, and we were very much interested in contracting with them again this year.
Understood. I did want to ask about this new sidewalk obstruction fee. How does the city expect to raise that amount of money? I know you had to take it out of the budget, but are there lots of sidewalk obstructors that are going to be ticketed and brought to court?
One in particular, the Matrix Development down on Nielsen Street has had many sidewalks obstructed for a period of 2 years now. We have issued them an invoice for the sidewalk fee. They have not paid it yet, and we were going to continue our best efforts towards collecting that. But as I said, the DCA will not allow us to anticipate it.
Thanks for the answer. I missed the average home in New Brunswick is valued at what?
$271,000.
271. And do you know how that compares to last year prior to the rebound?
I think last year's was 118.
Right. Okay. And so I guess that's all for that. Thank you for all the thorough explanations. I do want to ask, why is the Red Flex red light camera program still itemized here? Can we cross that off and get rid of that?
I'm sure that we can eventually phase that out. That is just, a repetition of, how the revenue side of the budget was once configured. We're not making any anticipation of receiving any additional money through that program at this time.
Okay, and I think the city respectfully should call the vendor and tell them to get their red light camera out of here. There's still one that's up on Easton. Wanted to ask about the decrease in pilot revenue, payments in lieu of taxes. It was 12 million, it's now 11.6.
Yes, the most significant matter there is that the Robert Wood Johnson payment in lieu of, even though it's probably not even technically a payment in lieu of, but their municipal contribution to our budget was $2 million last year. $2 million last year, it's $1.5 million this year.
And has Robert Wood Johnson gotten smaller and taken up less land in New Brunswick, or have they been doing some massive expansions? And how is that possible for their contribution to go down?
It is a matter that was negotiated between them and the mayor. I don't think they're obligated to make a contribution. Our recourse might be to file some sort of action against them, but this is a voluntary payment that has been negotiated between the hospital and Mayor Cahill.
Okay, and so, but traditionally every year there is a payment from Robert Wood to the city. Is that fair to say?
That's not fair to say.
No, this
Last
is
year
new.
was the first time there was a contribution.
Understood.
First time the concept of hospitals possibly being taxable entities kind of surfaced last year.
Right, I understand there was a court case in Morristown. I wanted to ask if the city's on top of that and how the mayor arrived at that number.
I think he arrived at it using his best efforts, and as you can imagine, I think most hospitals would prefer to keep things the way they were, remain fully tax-exempt organizations. I think the mayor negotiated what he thought was in the best interest of this organization, and I believe he has.
Thank you. And does St. Peter's pay one? Just out of curiosity.
St. Peter's pays something on their CARES building. They pay $575,000 on their CARES building.
Okay. I know you mentioned, school matters are not to be discussed here, but it's worth noting that the Board of Education is engaged in a $3.7 million shared service agreement with the city, and it looks like that's an increase, a significant increase over the year before. Can I please find out what makes that increase?
No, it's the shared services agreement is in our budget as well. Let me just get to the right page.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Last year, we collected through shared service agreements and/or reimbursement with the board, roughly $3.6 million. This year, it's roughly $3.8. It's something that is valued by our finance director and the business administrator for the Board of Ed. They every year go through the cost of providing certain services, and this is the calculation for this year.
Thanks. On sheet 9, I see body armor fund. Can I just learn what that is all about?
There is nothing being appropriated on that line for this year.
Just curious.
I think it represents a revenue received in 2016, but there is nothing anticipated this year. I don't know if Captain Miller has anything to offer, but there's no money anticipated on that line this year.
I don't know any. Thank you. On the next one, 9A, kind of the inverse. Now I see anticipated revenue for Rutgers Neighborhood Patrol Team, but nothing under that for 2016. Did they not pay for 2016?
Rutgers on 9A.
I think they've had a relationship with us for a couple of years now. Maybe we called it something different in the past. I'm not sure about that, Mr. Craddock. I'll have to get back to you on that, if that's okay.
That would be fine, thank you. On sheet 10, the cable television fees, are those revenues earmarked for any particular appropriations, or is that just going to the general fund?
Comes into the general fund.
I'd like to make a constructive suggestion that any funds that are generated from the cable television fees be put towards making use of the public access channel that the cable company is required under their contract to give the city. But in all the time I've been active and engaged in New Brunswick, I don't think it's been active or engaged. That's public access cable television channel. Is that fair to say?
You said since you've been, I don't know how long you've been active. No, really, I mean.
I've been coming to meetings for almost a decade here.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
Time
I
flies
don't
when
know
you're
about the public access. You said that we haven't been active, that public access hasn't been active.
I don't think we have been active.
It's been up and down over the years.
Well, I mean, the city can accomplish some pretty big things, surely, with 160K. If you earmark that for getting that television channel working, I think you could do it. Will you make that change? Will you consider doing that?
That's not necessarily my call, but if you want to take it under advisement,
We'll
of
take it
course.
under advisement.
Okay, I do know that this has been an issue I've been asking about for years, and most other towns have a basic channel. They even play the government meetings on them, and as well as public events. It's a great resource, and I don't see why New Brunswick still doesn't have it in 2017. So I hope that you can appropriate some funds and I see $160,000, it makes perfect sense to appropriate, I hope you'll do that. Can I ask about the developer fee from 2016, 500 grand, and this year, nothing? Which developer paid 500 grand last year?
Developer fee, that's still on 10.
I don't remember what project that was. I think I have an idea, but I just don't want to guess. I can follow up with you on that too, if you don't mind.
That's fine. And this year, nothing expected, or is there potentially going to be an addition? I know of at least one giant project that's been approved.
Well, nothing that I'm aware of. The giant projects that are approved often, result in a pilot agreement, and we, receive a revenue stream for the next 20 or 30 years on those projects. But I honestly forget what the nature of that fee was. I think it was a one-time, unique type of arrangement, but I will try and get you information on that.
Okay, and just regarding the giant project that's been approved, is that accounted for in any way in this budget? The cultural center project, 22-story building, are they going to be paying a pilot this year? Are they going to be making a developer fee or anything like that?
I'm sure they're not going to be making a pilot payment. I would trust they would pay taxes on the land, once the two buildings are demolished, but I don't have a developer fee that I'm aware of, and hence wasn't put in the budget.
That's pretty much all my questions on the first section of the budget. I did want to ask if, just more broadly with the revenues, are there certain revenues that the city has identified as ones that potentially might be revoked or taken away if the President of the United States gets his way regarding sanctuary cities?
So any revenue, do we anticipate any revenues regarding sanctuary cities?
Well, we continue to anticipate community development block grant money that is managed by Glenn Patterson's office. He and I have talked about the impact of some of the things the Trump administration has said, but we are anticipating a typical year's worth of funding. Should something change dramatically, I guess we will have to react to that, but at the moment we're anticipating a normal year.
Okay, well, I hope you can get the emergency management coordinator hired quickly, because it's an emergency that guy is the president. It is really troubling. I already got the straight story on the shared service payments, so I don't need to ask about those. I do want to ask on sheet 34, I see two ordinances identified. I just want to understand what those ordinances are. One of them, the city, I guess these are the rates for the rate increases for the water and sewer.
34.
Yes, those were additional billings that those that those ordinances and the rates in those ordinances would have produced.
Okay, and then right below that is $38,000 anticipated for the Lincoln Annex School. Is that, I guess, water and sewer bills for the school?
Yeah, we bill the Board of Ed every year for water and sewer consumption within the schools. They are not metered, so we have to make a calculation of what is a fair water consumption number for the number of students and employees within the district. And the Lincoln School Annex is a new addition to the school system, and we made an assumption that we would collect on the sewer side we would bill them an additional $38,000 for that location.
Okay, gotcha. And the swing space, they pay not through the district, right?
They don't pay through the district.
Okay, but they do pay.
They do pay like any other property.
Gotcha. Sheet 40C, it's the capital stuff. I just want to ask if there's any reason that the city hasn't made, predictions or allocations for any year except 2017. I think in prior years you have. 40. 40C is in charge.
Do we do that on the user-friendly budget, or is that just?
Actually, Mr. Laughlin, we normally do project out. I'm not sure of the value of the projections out, and I've argued that many times because it's tough enough to boil down and fund the current projects, let alone going to 2020 or 2022. But normally, we do put some numbers down, whatever the best guess is of numbers, and it's just more of an omission. Not that it's a problem, no one at the state questioned it, but it was just not, we just didn't put any estimates down.
Gotcha. And I did want to ask if, I didn't see any appropriation for it, but is there any anticipation of rolling out a municipal ID program in 2017? Has that been budgeted for in any way?
Municipal ID program.
I believe there certainly is an anticipation of rolling that out, and the cost of that program will be absorbed by this budget. We will use existing staff to roll the program out, and if there's any hardware cost, we will fund them out of existing capital money.
Okay, and then I do want to ask about this user-friendly sheet 4, the structural budget imbalances. If you could just speak briefly to, we already talked about the sidewalk obstruction, but just can you explain the other imbalances and whether those are cause for concern?
I'm going to ask the finance director to get active here.
Certainly. The state just requests us to put down those revenue items that are probably one-time and non-recurring revenue items. And here on page 4, UFB 4 is our best guess of those revenues that will probably not be recurring next year as well.
Thank you for explaining that. And I guess I already asked about the pilot payments. I see, okay, I think that's about it. I just wanted to ask if the city could briefly address the level of debt that it's in and you know, how it's dealing with that debt. I see that the amount that's being devoted to debt is increasing. I just want to hear it from the folks in charge about whether or not we should be concerned about not just the debt that the city has, but it's also obviously guarantees the debt of the parking authority and the housing authority. The parking authority is in a significant amount of debt, and it's my understanding plans to borrow another $23 million to build a parking deck right on this block. So I'd like to know about the health of the city's debt and its obligation to pay that service.
Well, I'll give you my answer, maybe Doug wants to jump on top of that as well, but I think our debt is very conservative. The net debt that we have an obligation to service. I don't have the annual debt statement in front of me, but as I said a number of times, we can borrow up to, a municipality can borrow up to 3.5% of its assessed valuations. I think our factor is somewhere at 1.25 or something like that. I think we are not crazy borrowers. I don't think we're reckless about it. I think when we do guarantee someone else's debt, there's always a revenue stream in place that services that outside debt in the first place. Our guarantee, I can't remember when our guarantee has ever been called upon. But I would say that when it comes to borrowing, we borrow for capital improvements that we think are necessary. I don't think we're, I think we do the right thing and fund projects as they're needed, and I don't think we're overly extended when it comes to municipal debt. Maybe Doug wants to take that on as well, but that's how I view it.
Actually, the actual number, if I could say, as of year end, was 1.139%. So as long as we stay statutorily under the 3.5% of our equalized assessed valuations, statutorily, we can issue additional debt.
Okay. Just want to, the final question, is the council and the administration confident that the parking authority will be able to borrow another $23 million without further eroding the city's credit rating?
I can't speak to that. I'm not aware of, I haven't looked at their their need or the desire to borrow another 23 million. I haven't evaluated that.
Sorry, one more. Are they going to borrow it this year, though, for the new project, the giant project you were talking about?
I don't know what their borrowing needs or schedule is. That information hasn't been shared with me, nor is it typically, but I have not reviewed it.
Okay, I'll follow up with them. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Hello, Joy Sheehan from the Rutgers Village Neighborhood Neighborhood. I am just a little bit confused with the reevaluation and the letters that homeowners receive saying our taxes are going to be reduced significantly, and why I'm hearing that an average home now is going up $133 just for municipal. Where's our tax reduction?
The tax reduction, if in fact there is one, would have been expressed in a letter that every property owner received.
That said, we were going to get a reduction in our property taxes of up to several $1,000s.
And I think that if in fact a property was reassessed and a property owner got a letter saying their taxes would decrease, I think that is without question going to happen. You'll see the impact of that in the third quarter taxes of this year. To the reduction that the letter spoke of, you'll see potentially a $133 increase to that number because of the 2017 budget.
Is that because we have we don't run on a calendar year?
We do run on a calendar year, but with the budget being adopted now in May, the third quarter and fourth quarter of this year will capture the increases needed to fund this 2017 budget. But in the third quarter and fourth quarter this year too, you will see the impact of revaluation.
Okay, so we will see it there.
Yes, you will. Now, some people in town are not getting a tax reduction. You know, the reval has done a number
So a
of...
lot of my neighbors got a very similar letter to myself, so a lot of people are expecting a reduction.
Whatever the letter suggested, I am sure that is how it will play out. The reval took a long time to occur, and I think the appraisers went out and did their best to value everyone's house at market value. And as I said, because the rateable base went from 1.2 billion to 3.3 billion, the tax rate had to come down, and it did, as I described. And,
Right. Okay,
so
well-
I would simply say to the average property owner, I would take that letter that you got, and worst case scenario, you add $133 to it, and that's likely to be your...
So it should reduce by the number that the letter the appraiser sent,
It should.
and just increase the $133
That's
on
how,
average.
that's how I would look at it.
Does that $133 on average include the library tax?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
It does.
Thank you.
Danielle Moore, 188 Rocker Street. I have two questions for you. That's where I heard you mention in the budget about Harvey Street Park was going to be repaired.
No, I said Welton Street and the Wolfson,
Oh,
the
okay.
Wolfson, we're going to create a new park at the Wolfson, where the Wolfson deck used to
Okay,
be.
my apologies.
No
Okay,
problem.
one more question with Livingston Avenue. I know you said it was going to be changed, but will replacing the light bulbs on Livingston Avenue to make it brighter, safer to cross Livingston Avenue? The city has been saying that the county would be doing that, so is this included with the project that's going to be done?
We are putting money up to represent our contribution towards the engineering work that's necessary. I don't know what the final product will look like, but it may well, you mean pedestrian crossing lighting or street lighting?
Street lights, where the problem was how it's so dark to cross Livingston Avenue due to where the city has been saying that they were gonna look into it with the county of making the lights brighter, safer to cross.
I'm sure we will express that same opinion when the design work is being done.
Yes.
Please, council, I can speak to that. The current design is in process, and we have reviewed the preliminary lighting plan, and it's a significant upgrade the street lighting on Livingston Avenue. They're going to take down the old fixtures, and there's a whole sequence of new fixtures being proposed. So in the design process, yes, a significant improvement to lighting is under consideration.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gretchen Spencer. I'm at 2 Jennings Court. I want to ask a question. 27, Route 27. Who clears, like they've been working out there, who clears that sidewalk, the dirt off that sidewalk, when you can't walk on it? That's what I want to make sure. Because they've been working out there doing all kinds of work up and down. I don't know if it's the city or the state, you know what I'm saying?
On 27 or Van Dyke?
Well, right there in front of Robeson Village, that sidewalk on the highway, where they've been working at the construction work and stuff. There's so much dirt on the sidewalk, you can't walk down it since the snow and the construction work that's been up there, everybody's been doing. Who clears that off?
Well, it depends who put it there. We're doing some valve work on Van Dyke. If
Well, it's not on Van Dyke,
Okay.
it's on 27.
I would normally
27.
say the state is responsible for that, but maybe we can have someone locally look at it and see how easily we can clear it.
Yeah, because it's like you've got but this much space with the dirt.
Okay,
You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
And I have another question. How is,
this on the, I'm sorry, I don't mean.
oh, it's for the budget?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Can we
All right.
we're just gonna go
All right.
finish the hearing and then we'll come back to that. Thank you. Anybody else on the budget? Clerk, do you want to-
Perhaps you want to close the hearing?
Okay. All right, serving no further applicants on the floor, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion made.
Motion.
Second.
Council Vice President Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan, Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig, Council President Fleming.
Yes.
Council President, I have a resolution amending the municipal budget. It's Resolution R-051700B for the year 2017.
Okay, I offer the,
I offer the foregoing resolution to move its adoption.
Second.
Council,
oh, do we have anybody from the public wish to speak on that?
On the
On the
amendment,
amendment, on the amendment. It's not- Seeing none? Clerk?
Council Vice President Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig, Council President Fleming.
Yes. And the resolution is adopted.
Council President, I will read Section 2 of the adopted resolution for the 2017 budget. Be it resolved by the governing body of the City of New Brunswick, County of Middlesex, that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated in the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $32,729,797.55 for municipal purposes and $1,481,874.50 for school purposes in Type 1 school districts only, to be raised by taxation, and $1,077,639.67 minimum library tax.
Motion made, resolution and moving its adoption.
Second.
Council Vice President Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig,
Yes.
Council President Fleming.
Yes. And the resolution is adopted. All right. Get to this stuff. All right, so we got no ordinances.
Mr. Council
Yes, sir.
Before we move on to the ordinances on consent agenda, there is the resolution D, which is the resolution to set the tax levy for the Board of Education.
Thank you.
If,
All right.
We can entertain a motion to adopt that, and then we can move on after.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion, okay, number 4, okay, resolution to set the tax levy for the Board of Education for 2017.
Second.
Council Vice President Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig. Yes. Council President Fleming.
Yes. Okay, now we have no ordinances on second reading. We'll go to ordinances on first reading. 1, amend the management salary ordinance.
Move the ordinance setting down May 17, 2017 at 6:30 PM, same date to be advertised.
Second.
Council Vice President Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig. Yes. Council President Fleming.
Yes.
Mr.
Okay.
Fleming, I'm
Yes,
sorry, I
sir.
should have said this earlier, but the amendment to the ordinance is simply to add the new title of the abandoned property coordinator to the management salary ordinance. The amendment does nothing other than that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, now we have resolutions 1 all the way through 39.
We're pulling number 10.
And we're pulling number 10.
As a result of the adoption of the municipal budget, it's no longer necessary.
Okay, we're pulling 10. Does anybody from the public wish to speak? Reminder that you have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. And please let us adhere to the 5-minute rule. Thank you.
Good evening once again, Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick today. First one I want to comment on is 11, the additional legal bills for the police director who is elusive and does not come to any of these meetings. I noticed, there was a very thorough presentation on the budget on April 20th, and lots of the department heads were here. Police director, not here. I don't think he should be paying his legal bills without him showing up in public at least once in a while to answer questions about the department he runs, which is, as you can see from the budget, the most expensive department the city has. Number 15, same deal, more legal bills for that guy. Number 20 is additional legal bills in a matter I've already asked about, but Mr. Laughlin is here to speak for himself, and I see the mayor's bills are up to $152,000. Is there any sign of these cases ending in the near future, or is this going to just keep going?
Are you still under?
We're in the discovery phase in all these cases. Certainly, we hope that one day they'll be resolved sooner than later. But as long as they're in process, we're obviously going towards the accumulation of legal fees. So, unfortunately, litigation is not predictable.
Although we have to pay bills and live in a litigious society.
I mean, in some cases, these are city employees that are suing their bosses. So,
Everybody has the right to pay.
and I agree, and I understand that you're obligated to pay bills in some cases. I just think that, for instance, the police director could be more accountable about it. And in general, I'd like to see more action in terms of trying to prevent lawsuits from happening in the first place. Having better policies would do that, and
This is America. People sue everybody every single day for all types of reasons. So I don't know what policy we can put, anybody can put in place to stop themselves from getting sued.
I have a few ideas if you'd like me to share.
We'll take that under advisement. Look forward to talking.
Sure, great. I want to ask about the 2 liquor licenses on that same page 6, 24 and 28. Can you tell me what the sale or the transfer of these licenses represents? Is there a
Liquor license 28? Sure. Oh.
For number 24, the license went for $375,000. For number 28, the license went for $200,000.
Thanks. And should we expect any new bars or restaurants to open up as a result of this, or is this just one owner selling to another, and I see the other's a pocket license?
The pocket license, number 28, that's going to be the Rooster Stand, right? That's at the location at the corner of...
The old La Fontana.
Yeah, La Fontana.
Okay. And the other one is just Same business changing hands? Thank you very much. 7:30 is a water testing contract. Can I ask how many, was it publicly bid, and if so, how many firms applied?
7:30. Is it 30?
7:30, yes.
Oh, 7:30. Okay.
Yes, it was publicly bid. We had 2 bidders.
And could the water director speak to the, this is the same one that's already doing the work, right?
Yes.
Okay, can the water director speak to their track record so far?
Well, I mean, their track record is excellent. I mean, and we assume that it is. But this test and this lab that's doing this work is, what I consider to be like the most important parameter. This is for all the biological work where they're testing for total coliforms, and we've been extremely happy with the results. And the results stand for themselves. I mean, otherwise, they wouldn't be in business any longer if there was ever an issue with that.
I got you. So it's only for total coliform, or are there other?
Yes, that's the lab we use for total coliform. We use different labs. Brick Municipal Utilities Authority. They do other work like lead samples and VOCs and issues like that.
Thank you. On 7:33, I want to say that Mr. Jost has done the right thing so far and been a good representative for the Ethics Board for a change, and indeed they are not just investigating all 3 of my complaints, but 2 of them they are going to set down for hearings. So I want to commend credit where credit's due. He stood up for what's right and gave good advice to the board. Thank you. 7:35, I want to understand what the conditions are for the site performance bond to be released.
7:35.
Apparently, when the job is completed, the engineer does the inspection and signs off on the release of the bond. I don't know the particulars of the project. I don't know if Mr.
Can you speak to that?
I'm sorry, I had to look to see which project that was. That's the Recon Services project on Morrell Street. That project is complete. The bond is there for all of the municipal improvements and the site improvements. They are all complete. They've all been evaluated, determined complete, and therefore the bond is being returned.
Okay, so it's a kind of a, to get them to fulfill their promise to build sidewalks and stuff like that? Is that what it means?
That is correct. It's
Okay.
all of the site improvements. It is a housing project, and it is complete.
Okay, and just for my own edification, is there any requirement about the, dirt or waste from the construction being properly removed or recycled?
Say it one more time.
Is there any requirement for this bond to be released that they properly dispose of the waste from their construction project?
The construction project waste is properly disposed of. As far as recycling, that is not something that we look into. This is mostly construction materials, and they are not normally recycled.
I got you. Do you know where it was disposed of?
No, I do not.
Okay, the reason I ask is because I'm concerned there's a state commission on investigation into improper, basically fraud with the organized crime involved in being a dirt broker, basically being a corrupt middleman who takes the dirt and lies about contamination in the dirt to get it into a place where it's not supposed to be. And indeed, at a state commission on investigation hearing in Trenton last year, one of the sources of contaminated dirt that, not properly disposed of dirt, was 55 Morrell Street, which is this same developer right next door. And so I'm just concerned and curious whether, once again, they've, somehow the dirt has ended up in a place where it's not supposed to be, and I would hate for them to get their site performance bond if they were involved in anything like that. Might want to hold that item to be able to investigate. It is a very serious thing, and I was very surprised at the depth and breadth of corruption involved in this investigation. 737, I want to just ask about level 3 communications and what their role is here. I would have expected it to be Verizon and Cablevision. Yeah, the fiber optic cable in downtown.
Installation of fiber optic cable. Yes.
There is a fiber optic connection going to one of the projects. Level 3 Communications is the name of the entity that is responsible for the installation. That is going through permitting through the engineering department right now. And if that is approved through our office, it will be done. So this is just an authorization based on what we have seen so far. It has not been issued yet. So based on this authorization, we will then be approved to authorize that permit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else on the resolution? Resolutions only. Seeing none? Oh, okay.
Was resolution 727, it says about the in-service training for law enforcement. Can we, Captain Miller, do you have any information on what kind of training will be covered in that? 727, resolution.
It's going to be training for the officers on how to deal with suicidal individuals.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none? Move the resolution.
Second.
Council Vice President Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig. Yes. Council President Fleming.
Yes. All right, that's it for the resolutions. We have items for discussion. Council, then we'll go to the public portion. I just want to, real quick, just commend the city for 2 things that we did recently. We had Ciclovia, which was, it's always an excellent event that we put on. And also this past Saturday, in conjunction with, they had Rutgers Day, and that brought 100, they said estimates were like 100,000 people came into the city, and it was an excellent event. I go every year, I take my sons there every year, and I just want to encourage people to engage. They've been pretty, I don't want to say lucky, but every year they've had, the last few years, they have good weather and stuff like that. It's always a good event to attend. You know, a lot of times people don't highlight it unless something happens at an event, but that was an excellent event to attend. So, you know, next year, let's consider it. And we have, how many more Ciclovias coming up? 2 more? 2 more?
Next one is in June.
Next one is in June.
I believe so.
Okay,
June, August, and October.
okay. 3 more. All right, excellent. All right, anybody else? Before we move on to the public portion. No? All right, we're gonna now move on to the public comments. Reminder, 5 minute, please adhere to the 5-minute rule, and please state your name and address for the record.
Could I actually give some paperwork? There's 2 pieces of
Okay, is this on?
Yes.
My name is Ellen Witt, and I actually live in Highland Park now. I lived in New Brunswick for more than 15 years, just moved about a year ago. But I've been working with different immigrant rights groups here in the New Brunswick area and continue to work with them at this time. So I have been active, especially on the county level, since 2014, discussing with them how to set up an appropriate policy to deal with ICE requests. And so I wanted to come to speak to this tonight. I know that this has been debated, I guess, for some, maybe a couple months now. And unfortunately, I was teaching ESL on Wednesday nights and couldn't come to a previous meeting, but I did want to speak to it tonight. So what I've just given to you is a copy of the Middlesex, really a copy of the New Jersey Alliance for Immigrant Justice, along with the ACLU's Model, Fair, and Welcoming Resolution. And in addition, I also gave you, put together by the same folks, the police directives, a model police directives policy for municipalities. And I wanted to bring this up tonight because I know that something has come out from the police. There are some weaknesses with it. It's been adopted from Princeton, and it's not as comprehensive as I feel what New Brunswick really needs, especially at this point. And I think we should take a step back now that the last few weeks, we've had ICE in town arresting a number of people, and it's turned out local folks who've been working with them know that at least 6 of them that people have talked to, they don't have criminal records, they were picked up, they did not seem to, most of them did not even have a judicial warrant to pick them up. So their problems, that's a big step up. In one day, a whole number of people picked up by ICE inside of this town. And of course, the police were notified ahead of time and knew about it. In addition, we've had a very unusual thing happen in New Brunswick, which is, I realize it's not under your jurisdiction, but the fact that ICE came into a court, the Middlesex County Court, and arrested someone there as well, which the Supreme Court Justice of New Jersey has complained about. So we've had a really big step up here. And one piece of that is that some people, whether they're right or not, the witnesses said that they were told by ICE that some of the people accompanying them were New Brunswick police. Now, I'm not saying that I know whether they were or not, but the problem is the perception may be out there, and sometimes ICE does identify themselves as local police. We know that's happened in other parts of the country. So it becomes a real problem for the community. So I think at this point, I think it's worth really looking at this carefully and thinking about what this elected body can do. One, to put out a policy themselves, which is what I'm providing for you. It's actually a model policy. You can adjust a little bit, whatever, but it's there to help you. And to also make some kind of public statement about some of these actions that are happening, including at the courthouse. Just kind of cries out for public officials here to be condemning these kinds of actions. In terms of this particular policy, I just want to point out a couple of things about it, of advantages. Number one, yes, it's designed to specifically protect the constitutional rights of people who are living here. Or people who are here. So it's constitutional rights apply to all people who live in the United States. It's not limited to simply citizens. It applies to all people in the United States. And unfortunately, some of ICE's practices puts cities in a bad position because they're being asked to do things that don't really hold up in court in terms of protecting people's constitutional rights, particularly the Fourth Amendment around search and seizure when you don't have judicial warrants and you take people or ask local police to assist you with taking people. Those are not really constitutionally based, what ICE is asking for. And there have been many cases across the country that have found that some of these practices are not really constitutional. So one of the things that cities need to do is protect themselves in addition to the people who live here, to protect yourselves from liability questions, because you can have a lawsuit on your hands.
Thank you. We have to record a limit. Did you give your name one time for the record?
It's Ellen Witt, W-H-I-T-T.
We'll read into this. We're at the 5-minute limit right now. Thank you.
Must have taken up time for passing out hours.
Danielle Moore. Today I received a letter from the Board of Education stating that the water has been checked. It's been keeping up with good water, no lead in the water. I would like to say thank you to Mr. Charles, President of New Brunswick today, due to where he's been doing such a wonderful job coming towards the Board of Education and the city dealing with lead testing in the water. So I would like to thank you today, due to why I see the Board of Education is taking care of it, doing tests. But one thing on that, I see the city did not keep their word, what they were supposed to be doing about the water. Let's see, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, that was it was a good laugh for everyone. that was when I said, wow, the city is too cheap to pay the water company overtime, extra money to flush the hydrants at nighttime like you used to. Oh, it was a big laugh where I don't know if you took it seriously or not, but the word was that in a school zone or a restaurant zone, the city agreed to pay the water crew overtime to flush those pipes in the evening. Due to where last week, once again, where, you're flushing the pipes right in the school zone. So please tell me, why aren't you sticking to your words saying that, okay, no flushing the water hydrants, school zone, no flushing the water hydrants, restaurant zone. You agreed to pay the crew overtime to do it in the evening, so please tell me, how come it's not being done?
Yeah, I don't have any recollection of ever making a statement that we were going to do any such thing. In regards to that, if the clerk can look into the record, I'm sure we can look up the minutes if we made that statement. I don't have any recollection of making that statement.
When was, I'm sorry, I don't recall. You said how many months ago?
I would say at least 5 months ago. Like I said, it was a big laugh with the whole room when I said, wow, where the city was too cheap to pay the gentlemen, extra money to do the hydrants at night like they used to. And then that was where, like I said, I had spoke upon due to where, like I said, seeing the hydrants flush during school hours where our children drink water.
Será possibility to that word to flush hydrant flushing in the areas of the school to do it at a later time, or is
We could certainly take that under advisement. When it comes to overtime and the utility, we do have a budgeted certain amount that's in every budget that we do, and historically, we never maintain that budget anyway. So, overtime is certainly a concern that I have. We budget a certain amount, and then we exceed that consistently every year due to water main breaks, and it's very hard to anticipate. But I mean, we have a certain amount of overtime that's built into people being out sick or on vacation. You understand we're a 24-hour-a-day operation, so if someone takes a vacation day, someone else has to pick up the slack and continue to work. That's in addition to hydrant flushing that we do in certain sections at night and certain sections during the day. To do it during the day is certainly a cost savings consideration, and to do this at night and do it all exclusively at night is certainly an additional cost when it comes to overtime. Plus the addition that you have to take into consideration the safety of the men that are working. That if they're flushing at night, then they're expected to be at work at 7:30 in the morning, work a full shift. It does lead to a situation. I've been doing this for a long time, so I don't understand the reasoning or what the concern is. Is it the kids getting their feet wet or
Drinking the water due to how the water turns brown when flushing hydrants.
Again, that should only be a temporary scenario, and when we flush the hydrants run until they're clear, and it should have no effect on the school. We've never, to date, that I know of, ever had a call from any school in regards to a dirty water complaint during flushing hours. If you're aware, I certainly, would like to talk to the school and see what's going on there, but to my knowledge, we've never had an issue with that.
But you are doing some at night?
Yes, in targeted areas, and a lot of it has to do with, it's a very congested city with a lot of traffic considerations, so traffic really can play into that as well. We are also, in addition to that, developing a different hydrant flushing route, per se. It's a different technique that goes on with it. I have to say, it's a very complicated system to develop. Alex Wallace, our superintendent, and myself, we have been actively working on it for the 2 years that I've been here. So, and it's far from complete, but it's a different way of looking at it, and it's more based on systematic versus like a systematic way of flushing versus the way we're currently doing it now. So,
While you're still at that,
yes.
Can you explain the different colors on some of the hydrants?
There's really should only be two colors in the city of New Brunswick, and that would be red or that would be silver. If you see a silver fire hydrant, that is untreated water. That's fire hydrants that are located on our raw water lines that are coming up to the treatment plant. certainly good for putting out a fire, but definitely something you don't drink out of. And the red fire hydrants, all the red ones would be potable water that goes out in the system, and they're the ones that we flush for that usage. Some have silver tops on them, and we're working on different paint schemes to identify and work closely with the fire department someday getting into painting the caps different colors would signify different flow rates coming out of hydrants.
Okay, thank you. I'll move to the next one. That's why I see the city did respond to Baldwin and Railroad Avenue. There where I was talking about the cars coming through the parking lot, coming up a one-way street. I see you did put some red paint down and put maybe about 5 cones down, which that's still not stopping the cars coming illegally, ready to crash into someone coming down from Baldwin Street. Will you please just tell me, is that going to be temporary? Are you going to put a guardrail up there?
I think I told you at the last meeting, we put a curb up, and there was some additional signage and maybe some painting that was to be done. Rich?
That is correct.
So are you just going to leave it like that, or are you going to still approve for a guardrail to be put up like it was before the city took it down?
I'm going to let the engineering department assess what is appropriate there or not. Your observation was perfectly right on. There were people cutting through the parking lot to get to Baldwin Street. You're absolutely right about that. They put a curb up to prevent that from happening, as well as signage. Should that prove to be insufficient, maybe we'll revisit the guardrail. But I'm going to let the engineering department do their job, and they'll assess the need.
Like I said, the way that is, I guess I'll just bring some pictures to prove my point where that's not doing anything. Like I said, as low as that is not even a curve, not where anybody can ride over that. And like I said, move the cones where the cars are still coming through there. And once again, I say the Board of Education's right there where you have buses coming out from right there to go down that one-way street. What, God forbid, how many close calls I have seen right there on that corner. But I guess I'll bring some more pictures to prove my point that, what is that with cones and like I said, a little paint. What do you think that's going to stop cars from going by?
If I may. Yes. The curbing that was placed in that area was a temporary curbing. As we get into the curb and sidewalk program later on in the summer, that will be replaced and will be permanent curbs going in there. So this was temporary that was placed. If that is not sufficient and people are jumping over it, we will take a look at that. And it can be rated right now for a short period of time, but when the program takes place and it is active, we will be going in there for permanent curbing.
Well, like I said, next meeting I'll bring my proof to show pictures that's nothing going on right there with the cones and like I said, that little bit of paint there.
It is scheduled and will be done later this year.
Well, okay, I think, like I said, I'll bring the pictures to show that needs to be done immediately due to where, like I said, so many close calls right there where you put a police car there.
Can we extra patrol or something, especially during school up during the hours?
The traffic division is aware of it. It's not beneficial for us to put a police officer there 24/7. But they do go by there and try to enforce if they do see violators.
I guarantee you if you put a police car there at 4 o'clock on a Friday or night, I guarantee you'll get 100 cars within 2 hours. That's how bad it's getting there. It's getting very scary. My next question is, how long will it be? I know it's been at least 9 months already. We're waiting on the orange sticks for the corner of Lee and Lawrence Street to be put up where we've been waiting 9 months for a delivery. Has the city received it yet?
They have all been received, and my understanding from Public Works is they have all been installed. So you were saying there were some that were dedicated to go in a location that did not get addressed?
Yes, that was where at the traffic meeting, the city meeting, that was last year, yes, due to where it was approved for Lee and Lawrence Street, due to where you were going to put the orange sticks on the corner there to stop, try to stop the accidents. That's where a zone where, like I said, you had three major accidents on the corner of Lee and Lawrence Street. You had 3 major accidents on Lee and Ward Street. And then also you have Lee and Ellen Street. Wow, not even in a month of wow, 5 or 6 months. So yes, it was approved. I brought you the pictures and all. I don't see how the city keeps approving things and then saying they're not. But like I said, that's one reason why I'm glad it's video, so I can go back to the date to show that even though the city shouldn't forget what they approved.
Lee and Lawrence. You said Lee and Lawrence?
Yes. That was where you've been telling me that it was waiting on delivery. Like I said, I never known that was what you
And
told
we
me.
expedited the delivery out of San Antonio, Texas, and it was here in 3 days. And I was told that they have all been installed.
Well, like I
So
said.
I will have to check into that. I
So,
did not
would
go out
I
and
have to
look
wait
for
on,
details.
will we have to wait on another delivery to come through?
We'll discuss it with the department. That's the.
No, see, like I said, this is getting very angry due to where, like I said, you're approving to do things, and then you're forgetting like, oh my, did I approve that? Oh, yes, you
Well,
did.
we're gonna have to look, we're gonna have to look into it. You said Lee and Lawrence?
Yes,
Okay.
like I said, one thing, I'm dealing with working with the patients with the city, but come on, when I say 9 months, and you know what the record was with so many accidents there, and nothing's being done to try to stop. Thank you.
Good evening, council. My name is Eric Huber. I live over in Ward 5. I just wanted to hit one more point that Ellen didn't get a chance to get to, and that was that adopting a fair and welcoming policy will help prevent a county or municipality from violating federal law in regards to personal liberties. The policy is followed and also clarifies the policy for all personnel and citizens and takes off pressure. I know Charlie mentioned it briefly, but I wanted to ask a little more about the municipal ID program. You said that that's not specifically allotted for, but the plans are still to roll out the policy, correct?
Municipal ID.
I believe I said it is the intention to roll out the program and that the cost of the program will be absorbed in this budget as it pertains to personnel, and if there's any hardware expenses associated with the program, we will pay for that out of existing capital money.
Because a couple months ago, at the first real big meeting talking about sanctuary city status and the whole debate about the undocumented population in the city, we were told that we would have kind of more information when the budget came out. I could go back and pull a quote from the video for next time, but I was just curious to know if there's any more information in terms of progress of the municipal ID program that can be shared with the people here tonight, especially because it not only benefits the undocumented immigrant population, but also the homeless, the elderly, foster youth, formerly incarcerated people, and people with difficulty obtaining other kinds of federal ID. So I think it's something that the city really needs. And also there's a lot of economic benefits to it in terms of promotions with certain institutions downtown presenting municipal ID. So I'm just curious to know if you could give any more information about the progress of the program, when it's expected to roll out, or anything like that, to that regard.
Yes.
We are anticipating having something before council, possibly as early as the next meeting, for your review.
Okay, that's great, thank you. And my last question, I believe, was it 2 days ago? Recently, Mayor Cahill did an interview with New Brunswick Today that was published online, and at the very beginning of the interview, he actually, he first stated that he did not have a problem with the local government releasing information about ICE detentions that happened within New Brunswick in regards to the reason of detention, the reason of apprehension by ICE, and also, any information about potential criminal record or any municipal involvement. And then further went on to say that he thought that this would actually help create transparency with the citizens of New Brunswick. So I was just curious to know if the council and other appropriate bodies were aware of that, and if there were any plans to potentially start instituting that kind of a policy towards ICE raids, because we've really had a lot of radio silence from the city with all the ICE action, and I'm assuming that at least the police department has more information about ICE action within the city, and potentially making some of that known might help calm down a lot of the residents here.
With the exception of them letting us know that they might be here on a certain date, they don't provide us any information.
What about,
You have to
can you-
sorry.
then, you know, so ICE doesn't provide information about any kind of action in the city before showing up. Curious to know if the city or specifically the police department is made aware of the actions that they've the actions that they've taken after the fact.
No.
Okay. Well, I think we should, if there's any kind of way that the city could work on making some kind of concerted response that is made public and made very visible to the city after the actions of ICE agents within our municipality, that would really kind of help the population, kind of calm some fear in certain communities. And thank you for your time.
I just want to add, in terms of that, there's, like I've been saying, there's a group that is working on that, just so if there's anything that happens in the city for the residents to know. Created a network of volunteers and that could assist those families, and so it's in the works.
Okay.
The past 2 months, different groups have been working on it.
All right, yeah, because, Ellen and I are both interacting with a large number of immigrant rights organizations in the area. We are also, getting updates from other organizations in New Brunswick about the nature of the detentions and the families requiring legal aid. But I think that potentially a release not from a separate entity, but from the New Brunswick government as an official body holds a lot of weight and would really, it would be meaningful. And that's all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Pedro Showell, 107 Byers Street. I just have a brief concern that I want to share with the city council. The last few weeks, I have a group of kids that I deal with in the city, and for the last few weeks, we've been in the Pine Street Park area, just doing kid things with kids. But what we've noticed is that the bathroom facilities have been constantly locked. And I'm quite sure when the city put in such a expensive park, along with the facilities, they should have access at least between the hours of whatever the park hours, from 7 to whatever, or 9 to whatever, to have usage. A lot of parents I've noticed come up there, and I took count of an average 4 hours, at least 40 to 50 kids and parents, from the skateboard park to the basketball along with the kids program. But the bathroom facilities are not accessible. And I'd like to find out what can we do or to ensure that that would change. And I understand that I think that there was some damage done to the bathrooms or something happened along the way. But still, I don't think the kids or the parents that's there with the kids should be penalized for someone, vandalizing the park. So I'm trying to find out how can we, rectify that, through some kind of change or security. If we need to put cameras in, or, I think it would be too much to have somebody controlling the area, but somehow we have to resolve this.
I will pass on the gentleman's concerns to the park superintendent, Mike Montes. I would agree that the bathroom should be open to the extent that they're working. I think the damage, some vandalism was done to the doors, but I can't explain why they've been locked otherwise, but I will look into it.
Could you also ask them about the porta potties in Buglow Park, or there were none last night? I mean, that was assault started last night.
I saw some yesterday myself, but I don't know what location that you had expected them to be.
Where they were last year.
I don't know where that is.
Tennis courts, Buglow 3.
Right by first
But
base.
anyway, I'll speak to the park superintendent.
Okay.
Right by first base.
Mike Montes.
Okay. But, and you're speaking to him, we don't know how soon that will be resolved.
I'll speak to him.
That's his call.
I'll speak to him as early as tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
Follow up. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Gretchen Spencer, 2 Jennings Court. And thanks for asking about that football in the bathroom and stuff, because my grandson plays football, and they had a problem with going to the bathroom in the park on Joyce Kimmer Avenue one day last year. And that was a big problem. The kids had to walk all the way up to the teen center or somewhere to go to the bathroom, wherever they was playing on Jersey Avenue, because the bathrooms were locked. I'm calling about, I want to find out traffic in Robeson Village. We need higher speed bumps like they got by Joyce Kimmer Avenue by the school, because they come in there racing like bat out of hell. And two cars in particular. And we need more cops out in the area, because I'm tired of the reefer smell. And I hope everybody is listening to me and watching me, because I'm turning you in if I see you, because I'm tired of it. Because we don't have enough cops coming around the area, because most of them are downtown, from French Street down. It's a rare occasion where we get some come out, unless I call and tell them, and I try to tell everybody out there, if you smell it, see something, make a phone call. You ain't got to leave your name. They're going to blame it on me anyway. So they're going to think I called it, because I let them know when I'm calling the cops. So them speed humps from Bergen Court, Gatling Court, Carter Road, and Jennings Court, and Sample Road. Because like I said, we need humps, because these little things we got up now, they just fly over them and go through. And if any way that I can talk with somebody to show them where we need them at, because they turn it into Bergen Court on 2 wheels. And I'm getting, people are getting tired. I mean, even though they're one-way streets, kids only look one way. That's the opposite way of the car. And there are too many kids out there, so we need to get them humps up. Question about the water. Are they going to have somebody come check all water out there with the school? Because from where I heard, that all water was contaminated. So, in New Brunswick, and it was on the news. Okay, I haven't been here since last year, but I want to make sure that everything is working right at the water department. And when they did flush the water last night of the hydrants, rust was everywhere. I've never seen that before. Rust was everywhere. I can walk out there now and see the rust left out of the water hydrants and stuff. I've never seen, and I've been out there almost 50 years. The pipes, the place, that buildings I told you that was coming down, now they got to move them people out because the building is collapsing. I keep telling y'all, that place is going down. Sooner or later, they're going, now they done started the construction of the homeless apartments out there. The one building sitting next to it, they got to move them people out. I've been complaining about this for the past 20-something years. I lived out there that long to know how these buildings are going down, but nobody wants to listen. I tried to stop John Clark the other day, and he rode right past me because Hug was in the car and didn't even want to speak to me. You know, and I've been trying to work with them to try to get things straightened out there. And it's not the outside. They keep it nice, but it's the inside when people's pipes are busting in the walls. And they got to go in and replace all of that. They're putting Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid. And I want the federal government, everybody to hear this, because I'm trying to write letters now to HUD. Everybody done wrote letters. I haven't wrote my letter yet, but I got to sit down and write mine to HUD about how these apartments are falling apart on both sides. Since when triangle cable with the contamination of the grounds and all that, nobody's looking into this, and we need to have our water tested. We really do. Because I haven't drank, the first time I drank water in 5 years was yesterday because I ran out of bottled water. And when anytime you drink water sometime and it hits the bottom of your stomach, don't feel good, something wrong. Something is wrong. But like I said, everything needs to be fixed. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed way on the north side. Okay? Not just from French Street on back. On that side of town too. Because the drugs is rampant and I'm tired of it. People can't breathe and whatnot. And it really, the whole place need to be torn down and reconfigured. That's just where it's, because you can't put Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid and whatnot. So, you know, there was something else I had to talk to you about, but since my time is up, I'm gonna let it go and come back another day. But I need them speed humps out there like 5 years ago. But they need to, really I need to have somebody come talk to me so we can figure out where to put them at. Not just come out and, because they put one in the middle of the block. Somebody coming around the curb, they don't slow down until they get to the speed hump. The kids is right there on the corner. Bam! So if somebody can talk to me and we can figure out where to put these humps at in configuration with what I see and the rest of the people see, because I live there.
Are you gonna be here, David?
Yeah, I can sit here and wait.
Okay, thank you.
I have no problems.
Okay.
Good evening once again, members of the council. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick. New Brunswick today. I want to start by thanking Ms. Moore for the kind comments and saying that I echo everything that everybody said up here tonight, and it's great to see so many people come into these meetings and bringing constructive ideas. Democracy doesn't work if that doesn't happen. So that's why I do it. I don't do it for the credit. I do it because this is part of how functioning democracy is. So speaking of our functioning democracy, can you give me an update on the resolution to call for the impeachment of the president and the governor?
Mr. President, we haven't had a chance to speak with everybody, but I haven't gotten as far as creating a resolution, we all have our own personal opinions, and as far as agendizing it, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. But I will speak again, I will try to talk to more of the members.
Okay, so the next meeting you'll have an update on it?
Yes.
Substantive update, thank you. I want to really say that Ms. Gretchen, coming to the microphone, she is probably the bravest person in that neighborhood because I think Councilwoman Escobar can vouch for it, that at most of the housing authority meetings, it's me, the councilwoman, sometimes developers, and Gretchen. So kudos to her for sticking up for her community, and I think that it's fair to say that part of the reason that folks don't come to those meetings is because they're fearful of reprisal and intimidation from the people who run the Schwartz-Robeson complex, and that's unacceptable. This is public housing. It's under your control. It's under your purview, and so I hope that at the next meeting on May the 24th at 6:45 p.m. that you will all join me and hopefully the councilwoman who's been a regular at the New Brunswick Housing Authority meeting, because what is going on there is serious cause for concern. So I have 3.5 minutes left. I'm going to try to fit all the problems with the Housing Authority right now. So first of all, they don't have a resident council. HUD is, I believe, makes that a requirement, that they have input from the community vis-a-vis a council. And indeed, we've seen that they've struggled to fill the one seat on the board that's supposed to be for a resident. So they're struggling to get one person. They are far from having a council, and we need to ask the executive director why. If it's required, why don't you have a resident council? I do want to, and this is a special occasion, I want to commend and thank the mayor for agreeing to have the housing authority and the water utility team up to test the water there for lead and copper. If you want to see a real disgraceful video of a government meeting, you can watch the most recent housing authority meeting where I asked them for the umpteenth time why they can't do it, and they had nothing to say. They accept motion to adjourn. And when you've got people living there that have these legitimate concerns about the water, when they found the highest levels of lead in the McKinley School right next to the Schwartz-Robeson neighborhood, and you've got a journalist, a person, sometimes people think I'm a pain, but you've got somebody asking you repeatedly, why won't you test the water at meeting after meeting, and you don't have an answer? That's disgraceful, and that board should be ashamed of themselves. I know the councilman is there to see it. I want you all to come to the next meeting. Please, come to the next meeting and watch how this board treats me, treats members of the public who come out, and treats our questions. Additionally, I want to thank Mr. Marquetta for getting me the proof that the Housing Authority gave away $1.9 million to Penrose, an out-of-state developer, to demolish a building. They had promised to build a replacement building, and they still haven't done it yet. And I learned that that's called a soft loan. I call it a gift. If it's a loan you don't have to pay back, it's not really a loan. And I want to know why the agency that's always claiming they're so broke and doesn't have money to fix up these 70-year-old projects, doesn't have money to test the water, doesn't have money to respond to OPA requests in a timely fashion, that they had $1.9 million lying around to give to out-of-state developer Penrose Properties. And I think if you look into the executive director, you'll find that he owns a company called Trenton Liquors LLC. And Mr. Clark, that executive director, only has one other person officially involved in the company, according to the record you can get from the state, and that person is Brian Zoffinger. And he is the son of George Zoffinger, the chairman of the board at Devco, the developer that gets to do all the projects, the big ones with Penrose. And Mr. Clark said on video in the February board meeting that he was the only person at the Housing Authority who reviewed the application for Devco's giant project, the Brunswick Cultural Center project. And I want to know, how is that ethical for the executive director to own a business with the son of the guy who runs Devco and be the only person at the Housing Authority that reviews their project? How is that ethical?
I don't have an answer for you right now. This is the first time I'm hearing that. So, but we can ask the appropriate people.
That was another one. You'll see I brought it up and they had nothing to say about that. Indeed, they shouted me down and told me I can't ask questions and really embarrassed themselves. So I'll just finish up by saying...
15 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I'll just finish up by saying that there needs to be big changes at the Housing Authority, and one thing we can do to prevent problems from happening is having a strong ethics system, so I hope we'll support some strengthening of the existing structure, because there have been other ethics violations related to that project, not just the Housing Authority. That's just the most egregious and offensive one. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Seeing none. Motion.
Second.
Council Vice President Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Councilmember Socorro Ludwig, yes. Council President Fleming.
Yes. Meeting is ended.